hearing out of the audience, so Andrew.
Well, you know that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we just got videos and so we appreciate it. Got handouts. Many of you know me, my name is Andrew Pearson. I'm a Pawtucket resident, Pawtucket homeowner, and work at Pawtucket City Development. Most of you know us, but for the record, we're a housing developer, a local developer that's been building commercial and housing units in the city for the last 30 years. We're located in Pawtucket. The vast majority of our work is in Pawtucket, and our office is at 204 Broad Street in Pawtucket. So I'm here tonight to ask you to pass the COD zoning ordinance with the 10% affordable housing requirement in place. Our organization is incredibly excited about development in the COD. We're excited about mixed use and mixed income development in the COD, but concerns of gentrification, rising rents, displacements, and the surrounding community are real. And there's 500 cities and towns across the country that have used inclusionary zoning to combat these issues, these concerns. What we don't want is we don't want the COD area to be 100% exclusive, only for the wealthy, only for the high income. When we look at other train stops on the MBTA line with access to Boston, the one-bedroom rents start at $2,000 and they go up. So the income to be able to afford that is $84,000 a year. So to reasonably afford that rent, it's $84,000. So that's the highest of incomes in our community. So we believe that 10% requirement for affordable housing is a fair compromise. That ensures that 90% of the units are going to be completely unrestricted, completely market rate, and they can be leased to the highest of incomes. But as it's written now, an affordable unit, even the affordable units, could be sold up to $220,000. And they can be rented to someone making $50,000 or $60,000 a year. So it's not overly burdensome. This is not public housing. This is not even low income housing. This is moderate income housing, which we're calling affordable housing. These are the teachers, nurses, aides, firefighters, and city employees making $50,000 a year. I don't think we're nervous about having folks with that income range live in the COD. I know as a Pawtucket resident, I am not. I think there is concern that out-of-state developers are unwilling to rent just 10% of their units to individuals, Pawtucket residents that are working full-time and making up to $50,000 or $60,000 a year. As a Pawtucket resident and a Pawtucket taxpayer, I'm concerned. I would be concerned if developers come to you asking for tax abatement, for tax relief, for city financing, but in turn they're not able to meet that 10% requirement. These don't have to be big units. They could be, but they could also be 1- or 2-bedroom units for entry-level college grads, communities in Boston. And affordable housing, we know, it might have the wrong stigma, but it doesn't have to be poor quality. A lot of you are familiar with our work at 2 Bailey Street, at Harvest Kitchen, on Branch Street, and that's where we have 100% affordable housing with even lower incomes. And we still are lauded for the high quality architecture and design. We would love to host members of the council for a tour of our units, and we hope that other developers will be open to hosting that same tour. I also want to point out that funding sources for affordable housing exist. So it was pointed out previously that developers may take the loss, but we think this is actually an economic gain because there's sources out there that developers, nonprofit, for-profit, private, anyone can use for affordable housing. This doesn't have to affect the for-profit developer financially. It may take a slight amount more work, but we think that's a reasonable ask. We've heard concerns about deed restrictions and 30-year deed restriction. This is a pretty common tool, a very common tool we use in affordable housing to ensure it's the teeth, to ensure that affordability stays with the land once the property is sold. The rents can go up, incomes can go up. This is not rent control. It doesn't keep things where they are. Appreciation is still there. The 30-year deed restriction is what gives it the teeth to stay affordable. And as a developer, clarity is vital. So we ask that this council and the city work with Central Falls, work with our residents to find a common vision for this district so developers like our organization and all the others that want to work here can move forward quickly. Finally, in conclusion, we're asking for the 10% affordability to remain in the zone. So 90% of the units could be luxury housing, 10% are moderate housing. We think that's a fair compromise, and with 5 votes from this council, we think we could create a more equitable and inclusive TOD community. Thank you.
Is that it, I assume, or is that something?
The other people on the list are, you're gonna wait for public.
No, they're here, they're ready.
Oh, they are, okay. So we have Allison Bloom.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me? So my name is Allison Bologna, and I'm not doing the news in the morning on Channel 10. I am a city resident. I live in Oak Hill. I'm actually neighbors with Andrew and a lot of other folks here. And I run SHRI, which is an urban outreach yoga program that started in downtown Pawtucket in 2010. We now serve more than 8,500 students a year with a home base in Pawtucket with a studio that's open 7 days a week, in addition to all kinds of other hospital shelters, schools, and social service agencies across the state, in addition to licensing our curriculum to other New England states as well who come to Pawtucket to train with us. And I care very much about the TOD district because I suddenly got thrust into it because I am buying a building in the TOD at 390 Pine Street. And part of our plans is to create a home for SHRI, to build our organization and to serve this community at an either larger or greater extent, and also house other nonprofit organizations. But I'm committed to creating affordable housing in that very building at the rate of 37%. And if I can do that, I would imagine other larger developers could do the same. I believe in our city. I moved here from New York City, where I went to graduate school at Columbia. I love it here for its diversity. A lot of what I see in New York, I see here in Pawtucket on a smaller scale. But I think this is a tremendous opportunity for this city to create an example for the rest of the state about inclusion and affordability. And I'm also in partnership with Pawtucket Central Falls Development, working with them because I know they do this well. And I believe in their high quality standards for affordable housing. And they'll be working on this project with me as well. So I support this. I think 10% is the minimum we should go. If we could go up to 20, I would support that too. But I'm saying this as a proud Pawtucket resident who's actually putting my own personal dollars where I say my heart lies. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for having us here tonight. I'm with the Pawtucket Central Falls Development Corporation. I currently sit on the board for them, but I'm also a resident here in Pawtucket and somebody who benefits from living in affordable housing. I've lived here in Pawtucket for the past 17 years on a housing subsidy, and without that, I would not be able to afford to live in this beautiful city. I urge you to keep the 10%, if not increase it. Prior to me moving here to Pawtucket, I was living in Massachusetts, and I came here, one, to be back close to my family, but also because I was in a situation where gentrification had came in, and I was forced to move out of the place where I lived and had to relocate. I chose to come to Pawtucket because it was where I had been raised as a child, but it would have been my second time being homeless in my life. As an adult, I spent 4 years of my life being homeless and was able to get a housing subsidy from Boston Housing Authority, and I chose to relocate here to Pawtucket with that subsidy. And without it, I wouldn't be able to afford to live here. I wouldn't have been able to afford to raise my children here and have them be productive citizens in this community. I got involved with PCFDC when it was PCFD because they were so strong in developing affordable housing. That's what drew me into being a part of that organization. When you speak to the developers using housing as a bargaining chip and whether or not they want to develop here, it's sad to me. It's sad to hear that because I know that there are people who do develop housing here at an affordable rate, and I'm a part of that group. So it can be done if you would allow the ordinance to go through with the 10% as the minimum. It will be done, but you have to have faith in you guys' decision here tonight and making that pass so that it can be done and that people like myself can have an opportunity to come to this lovely city and build themselves up so that affordable housing won't be something that we need is desperate need. And I just wanted to also say that currently Pawtucket is part of the state of Rhode Island where we're supposed to be at 10% already for affordable housing. And we're already at a shortfall of 362 units in the city to have affordable housing requirement at the minimum. We're only at 8%. We haven't even got to that 10% that we should be at. So to ask that we maintain that 10% is not a hard ask. Thank you.
Kevin Kazarian.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kevin Kazarian. I'm also a board member of Pawtucket City Council Corporation, but more importantly, I'm also a property owner right in the TAB district, or right on the line there. So I do have also a vested interest in this as a property owner and property owner of multifamily who rents out to the area residents. Main concern here for me is the gentrification of our neighborhoods and the displacement of low-income families while developers come in and redevelop this area. I mean, this is a great opportunity for the city of Pawtucket and Central Falls, so we need to be excited. We are excited about this. But the gentrification of this area is really troublesome for me. And one of the ways we can really stop or slow the gentrification process is by adopting this 10% affordable housing ordinance, which I think is really important. And I know that, we're afraid developers are going to shy away, developers are going to walk away, they're going to go somewhere else where there's not this mandate. But if they do, they do. If they don't, those are the people that we want to work with. And those are the developers like Allison Maloney, who said she's going to make 37%, I believe, per project affordable housing. Those are the types of developers we want to work with, so we should be wanting to work with. So I think that's very important for us to really look at that. So basically I'm asking for a couple of things. One is that we include a 10% mandate, at least a 10% mandate. And two, if we're not ready to make that decision, if there's still questions, if we have some issues, let's get together with the stakeholders involved. Let's work with the cities of Pawtucket, Central Falls. Let's work with the profit and non-profit developers and get them together and see how we can make this project work. As Andrew Pearson, I think, mentioned, there are a lot of incentives for developers to come in and whether tax credits or other incentives for them to come in and do an affordable housing project. They're out there. So let's work with all these people. So if we're not ready to make this decision right now, if we have questions, let's take 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, because the decision that we make here tonight is really going to affect our entire community for the next 20, 30 years. So let's make the right decision. And I thank you for your time and your consideration.
Jeremiah O'Brien.
Thank you, honorable council members. I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of my employer. Before I do, I want to respond to this gentleman here. In a previous life, I was council president in the town of Lincoln, and during my presidency, we had the opportunity to do a comprehensive zoning ordinance update. And as part of that update, we added a 25% affordability mandate for our mill conversion overlay district. So Pawtucket would not actually be the first city if they did go. But I'm here tonight on behalf of my employer, the Local Initiative Support Corporation, or otherwise known as LISC. This supports, we are a national nonprofit financing intermediary. We have offices in 31 cities around the country. We have a national program, and we have a program here in Rhode Island that's been in existence since 1991. Since 1991, we've invested over $300 million in supporting comprehensive community development efforts across the state through a network of CDC partners, including Pawtucket Central Falls Development Corporation. And when I speak of comprehensive community development, I'm talking about creating communities where people can live, work, recreate, worship, educate themselves and avail themselves of transportation options, all in safe and quality surroundings. And we strive to find initiatives that we can support that do all of those. And we see the Conant Thread TOD district as being a prime opportunity to do all of that in an inclusive way. We are also the backbone agency for the Pawtucket Central Falls Health Equity Zone, or the HEDS, which you all are hopefully familiar with. But the HEDS looks at the social determinants of health in both Central Falls and Pawtucket, and thinks about ways that those outcomes can be improved. And what we know is that housing is central, is perhaps the central social determinant of health. Children cannot be secure in their education, their parents cannot be secure in their employment, and their elders cannot be secure in their health unless each of these groups are first secure in their housing. And we see the expansion of affordable housing in the Conant Thread TOD district as a way to stabilize each of these groups that I've mentioned. And perhaps the best part of the TOD district that we're talking about here tonight is that all of this can be done in a mixed income way. One of the struggles with affordable housing is that it's difficult to find opportunities to do so where there can be a true mix of incomes, but that's not the case here. Folks from across the income spectrum will want to live in this area, will want to avail themselves of that MBTA stop and all that the city of Pawtucket has to offer. So on behalf of my employer, I strongly urge you to keep this affordable housing provision in your ordinance, perhaps to consider increasing it, maybe to join your neighbor Lincoln at 25% if you want to go out on that night. And I thank you very much.
Paloma Reyes.
Good evening and thank you. My name is Paloma Reyes. I just recently moved here to the state of Pawtucket from Pennsylvania. I am a mother of 4 children. I am a wife. I was currently employed and I moved here. So the reason I moved here is because my family's here. My family's here and I wanted to raise my children near my family. I believe family is very, very important when it comes to raising our children. I don't know if you would agree with me on that, your parents. But right now, I have the opportunity to move back to the city that I was raised in. I was born in the Dominican Republic at the age of 4. My parents, my family migrated here, and I moved to Central Falls from Dominican Republic to Pawtucket. I love this city. You know, I had so many neighbors around me, the support, the family as I grew up. Everyone knew each other. You know, not everyone was in a situation that was financially stable, but together they were able to do that. Together they were able to support each other. I remember growing up and my grandmother just making food for many of the people in the neighborhood. You know, my family gathering together in the summers and having cookouts so that we can help and support one another, because it was hard. It was hard, but now I'm back and I'm just asking you to keep in consideration the family, how important it is for us as parents that are raising small children, how important it is for us as parents to be able to afford housing for our children, not only for us as adults, but for them, having a stable foundation, having a stable roof, having a place to call home. It doesn't just impact the place that they're living in, it impacts their minds, it impacts their development educationally, knowing that they are safe coming home, going to school the next day, not having to worry about where they're going to go, where they're going to sleep, what they're going to eat, because many of our families here are paying Paul and taking from Peter, right? Or not having enough, or taking part of their bill money to pay rent or to buy food for their families to provide so that their children can be safe and in a safe environment in their home. So I'm just asking you to please dig deep into your heart, dig deep down, dig deep into your mind. Place yourself in the shoes of those that are here speaking out for us. You are all our representatives. We voted for you to represent us, not a developer. We ask you to please deep in to why you're sitting here today. Why are you in the seat that you're in tonight? We believed in you, and we still do, and we believe that you will make the right decision, and I thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Lisa Lucas, and I just moved into Social Club Development in August, and it's been a really big help. And even though I'm already a single mother, so it's really a struggle, so I can't even imagine how much I have to pay for the siblings. So when my daughter was born, I was living with her father, and because of certain issues, we had separated, and so I was looking for apartments, places. It wasn't like for what I'm paying now and what I was looking for out there. Like I would pay way more, and they were not safe. It was a lead paint. Like I couldn't find anywhere great, so I had to move back to my mother's house. And it was a 2-bedroom. My mother had the same bed. She didn't have space for anything. So when I applied for Pawtucket Development, I got approved, and ever since she's been happy. She has her own space. It's been a big help. And even though, like I said, I'm a single mother, and it's already very hard. My paycheck, I have a decent job, and half my paycheck goes for rent, and it's hard to pay certain things, but I still can make her go to her swimming lessons or her one dance. With the rent going up, it's going to be very hard, and I just don't know what else. Please consider it. And I also like the programs that they have, because down the line, of course, I want better. I want their better. And their house, and they also have the programs where they help us. So they want us to achieve our goals and do better.
Thank you. Desiree Dimash. Desiree. She had to go. Rosa Polanco. Diane Giraldo. Cecilia Alston. Brenda Clem.
Here.
You are.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'll pass some papers out to our friend, the city clerk. Thank you again. It's always nice to be back here with friends and colleagues, so thank you for the opportunity. I'm Brenda Clement, and director in my day job, as you know, of Housing Works, Rhode Island, working on housing issues. Many of you have cited the fact book all this evening, so thank you, and I'm passing out to you, the clerk's passing out to you a page about housing issues in Pawtucket and some of the housing statistics in Pawtucket as well, too. Many of you know we have a long history on this issue, all of it which started here in Pawtucket. Many, many years ago, I was working with some of our good friends and colleagues, and I know John Barrow, John Cohn, and Michael Gregg, and others, and we were then the Mayor Thoreau's Affordable Housing Task Force. When it was clear that at the time the political leaders did not have much interest in us at the Affordable Housing Task Force, that group of us went off on our own and created ultimately what became PCDC, now PCF, and started working on the housing issue. So housing and the need for housing is not a new problem in Pawtucket. It's not a new problem in Rhode Island, quite frankly. Statewide, we have the challenge trying to meet the housing needs. It's not just an affordable housing challenge. We just simply have not been producing enough housing at all income levels across the state. However, the need is highest at the lowest level, no surprise there as well too. Trying to create that good, stable base from which people can grow and develop their economic life is critical. So I urge you to consider this requirement of the TOD district as good common sense to build good quality neighborhoods and communities. We know from looking across the country that when you build a neighborhood and community that only caters to the very rich or the very poor, you are missing out on huge opportunities in that neighborhood and community. 10%, don't consider anything about it as an affordable housing requirement that's a burdensome requirement for a developer that they have to meet. Consider it a starter home. Consider it a starter rental unit for people who are starting off in their careers or for people who, like our mothers, fathers, grandfathers, who may want to age in place and age in our community. So that is what this is proposing to do. My colleague at Grow Smart Rhode Island says all the time that Scott Wolf, who is also has lots of Pawtucket connections, talks all the time that says that growth is not smart if it's not equitable. If we're not creating opportunities for all income levels across this district, then we are not creating the best possible vibrant condition neighborhood community that we could. Developers, may not like the 10% requirement or may balk at it, but developers will also like predictable processes. They like streamlined permitting. They like density bonuses. They like tax stabilization plans. There are ways for you to address concerns that developers may bring forth when they propose a development. Don't let them talk you out of this. Providence missed the boat or missed the train, if you'll excuse the pun, on some of their development in and around downtown. And the signs of gentrification in Providence are already spreading out from not only downtown, but all throughout the existing neighborhoods. My colleague Phil is absolutely right. Once you let the genie out of the bottle and don't address opportunities across income spectrums in all the neighborhoods and communities in Pawtucket, you will have an extremely difficult time, if not an impossible time, putting that genie back in. So, and the other thing to remind us about is that this is Pawtucket's history. What we're talking about in this district is what we always used to understand throughout Rhode Island and New England. The mill village concept, right? Where you have the factory or the business that was the center of business, and then all around that you had all different types of housing of all different income levels. All this ordinance proposes to do is for us to maintain that sense of history, maintain that opportunity for people of all income levels to live and to thrive in that. The numbers you've heard all over, you've heard from people of all reasons why it makes sense to do this. This is starter homes. These are units that people need in this community who want to contribute to our community. And I urge you to consider making Pawtucket strong and continuing to have this provision included. Thank you.
Linda, why are you here?
Good evening. Good evening. Hello? Can you hear me okay? Okay. Hi. Thanks for the opportunity to testify this evening. My name is Linda Weisinger, and I'm the Executive Director of the Pawtucket Central Falls Development Corporation. We're a community-based, nonprofit housing developer, as you heard. We've developed over 300 housing units in our history, so really proud of all the work that we've done so far in the community. I think PCF Development's work stands on its own merits. Our work is of the highest quality. We're extremely proud of neighborhood revitalization efforts that have occurred throughout Pawtucket. PCF Development has been involved in advocating for inclusionary zoning for the past 2 years. In 2017, there was a resolution that was introduced into the council by Councilman Rudd. In 2018, the Pawtucket Central Falls Joint Zoning Commission approved the comp plan amendment that included many goals for affordable housing. Low moderate income residents of Pawtucket are desperate for additional affordable housing opportunities. The median income in Pawtucket is $44,120, according to Housing Works Rhode Island, which we all use as our data source. In order to meet the 10% minimum requirement of affordable units, the city needs to create an additional 400 units of affordable housing. The proposed 14-page zoning ordinance is really comprehensive, very detailed, very thorough, goes into everything from parking to signage. But I think the most important part is what you're hearing today is the affordable housing inclusionary zoning piece. On page 1 of the proposed ordinance, it states, in quotes, Pawtucket City Planning Commission has reviewed the proposed amendments and found that they are in conformance with the Pawtucket Comprehensive Plan. The number one goal in the housing comp plan states to provide Pawtucket residents with all the socioeconomic groups with safe, decent, and affordable housing. So it's the common theme that is recognized as being very important and should be included in the TOD district. Also on page 1, it states the primary goal of the district is diverse residential and job creation opportunities that may capitalize on easy access to multiple forms of public transportation, often referred to as TOD. And on page 7 of the inclusionary zoning ordinance, it recommends the 10% affordable housing zone inclusion for the district for development over 20 units. PCF development wholeheartedly supports this effort. We urge you tonight to support this. Nationally, as you heard tonight, 10% is a bare minimum. At this point, we're saying 90% market, 10% affordable. We'd love to see more. We think it's an opportunity to take a leadership role and pass higher than 10%, but it's a bare minimum, and hopefully you support that this evening. As we discussed, the 10% would include households earning up to $45,000, $55,000, $65,000 a year based on family size. So families at various income levels should have the opportunity to live in close proximity to the MBTA commuter rail stop. We talked tonight, as I wrap up and circle it all back together, the developers, the development resources, and not enough resources available. There are plenty of resources available. We develop 100% affordable housing projects, so we know that developers can do it with 10% of their units as affordable housing. There's federal resources, there's home funding that provides formula grant funds to fund a wide range of activities for building, buying, and rehabilitating properties. There's low-income housing tax credits. There's the opportunity zone designation, even as an additional benefit in the TOD. On the state level, we're fortunate to have DHRI funding, which is Building Homes Rhode Island funding, that was voted by the voters over the past several years to support affordable housing. On the local level, we have Pawtucket home money. So there's plenty of resources that we can leverage together to really accomplish this goal to create affordable housing in the TOD. As you heard from Allison earlier, projects can happen. We can do this as a team and work together with all the experience that we have. Clearly, development resources are available, but we need the city policy in place to achieve this goal. The assistance is available for developers, and they can use the additional leverage funds to develop their projects in the TOD. Deed restrictions are essentially to preserve the affordability of the units in the TOD district and throughout Pawtucket for a period of time. The term of the restrictions are based on the sources of funding used to develop a site or building. It shouldn't be a deterrent, and communities around the country are using TOD as their tool for development success, including boosting transit ridership, spurring economic development, we talked so much about tonight, encouraging healthy living, the Pawtucket Central Falls has that list of support, minimizing the impacts of traffic congestion, limiting greenhouse gas emissions, and strengthening resiliency in the labor force. So it really is a really impactful TOD zone. This evening you heard loud and clear from community residents. I mean, they stayed late to really express the importance of what they want for this community. So you've heard from community residents, you've heard from community-based organizations, you've heard from a nationally financial intermediary, you've heard from a developer in the TOD who will probably have the first project completed when the train stops in 2021. And PCFD is honored and proud to be part of that project. Just for the record, I did submit written letters of support from Senator Elizabeth Crowley. She represents the district, List Rhode Island, Grow Smart Rhode Island, the Housing Network of Rhode Island, Green and Healthy Homes Initiative, are some of the few letters of support that are in your package today. So it's a wide range, but very important that they all wanted to be on record. They weren't able, some weren't able to make it tonight, but they did want to be on record. Your approval tonight will create new affordable housing opportunities in the TOD district for years to come. I urge you to vote in favor to include a minimum 10% affordable housing in the TOD district.